himself. I know him very well. I've known him for all 24 years of his life. He's also in the business with me on the financial side. Uh, Max Cleaver, money coach, based here in Chattanooga. So, Max, how are you doing today?
Doing pretty good. Pretty good. Very excited.
Good deal. Awesome. Well, I'm glad to have you here. And so we're going to be picking up the conversation about Generation Z. So I thought, what a great time to get somebody from Generation Z, because you hear a lot of things about I can't afford this or this is trouble. And I know I'm Gen X, right? And we're a little gruff, a little bit of a yeah, whatever, suck it up, buttercup kind of approach to life. But obviously, some things are going on in the economy and things like that, and it's a challenge when you look at how much houses have increased. And you're 24, so you're getting to that age where you're probably going to start thinking about settling down and getting the home and stuff like that. So it's a challenge. And so I thought, hey, he watched the show we had a couple weeks ago, so let's pick up the conversation and get your perspective. So as far as overall, just kind of general terms, Max, is it really a challenge, as much of a challenge as you hear Gen Z talk about, or what's going on? What are your thoughts? You're in it.
Yeah, I'd say, yeah, some aspect of it, but I feel like the main issue comes to like a lack of financial literacy, because I think the number is about 26 now. 26 states require a personal finance class in high school, which is, it's only half of the country. So I feel like that's a big loss of translation and understanding that's missed out in Gen Z.
Yeah, I think so. And especially when you look at yes, it's a personal finance course, but a lot of it's extremely basic, which, don't get me wrong, something's better than nothing. But it's one of those challenges that it's like, does it really deliver? Is it teaching them? And that's one of the things I've said about school. Obviously, you went to college, I went to college, your siblings went to college. But anymore, college is one of those things that, are they really teaching you anything? And even in high school, you could teach about entrepreneurship. There's one of the things I always talk about. There's so many ways to make money out there, but just understanding, the basics of finance. How do I grow wealth? How do I buy a house? How do I manage my money? How do I be intentional about my money through, budgeting and things like that? But, I would agree with you. I think that's definitely one of the big things. What are some of the other challenges you're seeing out there?
Obviously the biggest thing is student loan debt. I think the number's at 17 trillion.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. So as far as the student loan debt, kind of go into that a little bit. As far as what are you, I know you do some things on that. So what are you seeing as far as some of the challenges? Why is there so much debt? What's going on there?
So, personally for me, I had about $22,000 in student loans, and like the plans that they had me on for repayment, they want to get back as much money as possible, of course. I think all in all, the total is going to come out to close to 60,000 that I'd be paying back.
Wow. So basically 3 times what you borrowed.
Yes.
Okay. That's crazy. That's crazy. And a lot of that comes from, the interest and things like that. But, you look at that, and the cost of schooling is continuing to go up. And here's what I think. This is, I know I've talked to you a little bit about this, but for the listeners out there on our podcast or the viewers on YouTube, you look at student loans, that's one of the one things that you cannot file bankruptcy on. They're almost guaranteed approval, and the banks are guaranteed to get their money back. And so you've got the banks that are like, yeah, we'll lend you as much money as you want, within reason, obviously. But that same student, that same 18-year-old can go out and borrow $50,000 to go to a college out of state, for general studies classes, think junior college guys, go there for free. But the other piece is, looking at that same student walking into the same bank to ask for a $10,000 business loan. There's no way they'd get approved. So the banks know that they're going to get their money back. And then the schools are like, well, if they're going to do that, we want a piece of that. And so tuition just keeps going up, exponentially each year. And I don't know that the education has gone up exponentially each year, because I've got a couple degrees and nobody ever taught me what to do with my money. I had to learn it on my own, which is why I teach it now. But so what are some of the things that, student loans or students can do about their student loans? Because I know that's a big. I talked to a lady this week. She's 50 plus, and she still has a couple $100,000 in student loan debt. So what can a Gen Z do to minimize or eliminate or just get that monkey off their back, so to speak?
So we partnered with a company that helps. They're licensed debt arbitrators. We partnered with them, and they help pretty much make a deal on your student loan payments using programs that are already out there, and just meet with them. And I was able to knock mine from what would have been $60,000 in payments only down to about eight.
Nice. Okay, so it's a big significant reduction. So that's one thing. And I know there are a lot of government programs out there, and it's not just for police officers and first responders and things like that. So if you are looking at student loan debt, and I don't care if you're Gen Z, Gen Y, or Gen X, if you still have student loan debt, reach out to maxcleaver.com, and at least have him set up a conversation, walk you through the program. If it works for you, great. If not, no big deal. At least you looked. And I know there's some people out there, well, if you borrowed the money, you should pay it back. I was one of those people, again, Gen X, right? Gruff. But I look at all the money being sent overseas. I would rather send it to our kids, our military, our homeless military. I would rather send it to the victims of Hurricane Helene than I would see it go overseas. So my whole thought is keep it in the family, so to speak. If it can help students stay out of debt, then so be it. And if it's legal and legitimate, obviously it is. The company partnered with them, but great stuff. So what else, Max, beyond the student loans? What are some? We've got financial literacy is a challenge. We've got the student loans. What else is going on?
I mean, this is mentioned in part one, but credit cards. It's a big thing. I didn't know much about it until recently. So I'm pretty new to the credit card world. Yeah, in the last year, I've been able to bring my score up almost 100 points, just working on it, making payments. And also mentioned in part one, Wendy said she had her kids start on a secured card. That's actually what I started out with as well.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, so what did you do to start building credit? And I mean, you're still younger.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think you need credit, and what, in your words, and then how did you start building it?
I mean, like you said, I'd like to get a house in the next couple of years. So looking on that market, hopefully prices drop a little bit. And then, yeah, so starting off, I started with a secured card. I think my limit was about $500 that I backed up with my bank account. And then after either 6 months or a year, it turned into an unsecured, which was able to boost my score a little bit. And then recently I got a new travel card because I'm looking to travel some more. So that was able to jump my score. And I believe now I'm sitting around 730, 740.
On your credit score. That's awesome,
Yes.
man. That's way better than I did at your age. That's for sure. Of course, there's some tools out there. Do you use any tools to kind of keep track of it?
I use CreditWise. It's a
Okay.
mobile app. And then another one of my favorite things about it is that there's like a simulator portion of it. So you can kind of simulate what your score will do if you do X, Y, and Z. Whether it's take out a new credit card if you're looking to do that, or auto or home loan, or how much you're going to pay off.
That's nice. And so it kind of projects out your score. Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. All right. So, looking at number one, we've got the financial literacy, we've got the student loans. Now we've talked about the credit card debt. What else are some of the problems or challenges that Gen Z faces with regards to just building wealth or, stacking cash, whatever the case, whatever you want to call it? What are some other things that you're facing?
I'd say one of the more important things is just small purchases, which was also mentioned in part one. Small purchases is a huge thing, whether it's going out and getting coffee a couple times a week, going out to eat. It's a pretty big thing that can add up pretty fast. And then, yeah, it's cheaper to get groceries and knowing where to shop, choosing going to like an Aldi or a Food Line as opposed to going to a Whole Foods. Just little costs here and there really add up.
Mm-hmm. So are you doing any type of budgeting or anything like that to kind of keep an eye on that? Or how are you keeping track of, how do you know that one store is better than the other? Obviously you're shopping there, but are you keeping track of that?
Yeah. So we keep track of pretty much, we have a list of exactly like what we need, and then maybe like one or two wants in there of like, but we do a lot of like meal planning. So we'll figure out what we want to like eat for the next couple weeks, and then we'll use that to make a list and go to the store. And we're big into Aldi.
Okay. Yeah. No, I like all these as well. So this is good. This is, I get to, as dad, find out, are you doing what you need to do financially? So this is actually good for me too. So good stuff. Good stuff. So, looking at being intentional, and, we've talked about Money Patrol for you listeners out there, moneypatrol.com. If you want to be intentional about your dollar and your money, definitely want to, start putting away money and paying yourself first, obviously, and keeping track of what you are spending so you can control your expenses. And it's amazing. I sat down with a young lady, a little younger than you, kind of going over her situation. She was trying to figure out, okay, where's my money going? And we sat down and I looked, and you talk about the small spending stuff. I bet you there was probably $150 at Starbucks for a month. And people don't think about that, but that stuff definitely adds up. And that's money, not that you can just stop going to Starbucks or, doing X, Y, or Z, but the big concern is, how do I, start putting away wealth to make sure I've got plenty of money down the road? Because obviously inflation and everything like that, really looking at, I mean, should Gen Z be putting away money yet, or can they do that later when, when they're in their 30s or something like that? I mean, is that important? And how much should they be saving, or whatever the case may be? I'd love to hear your perspective on that, being, at 24 years old.
Yeah. So, I mean, a lot of things is, the saving. I've been saving I think it's 10% is what I've been,
Okay.
my goal
Awesome.
each month.
Awesome.
Been able to put that towards my savings account, or also towards retirement. It's something that a lot of Gen Z isn't, I guess, too much aware of, is that the 401k. Even the guy who made it said it's not meant to just be your retirement. It's meant to, of course, help it out a good bit, but it's not supposed to be the only tool.
Got it. No, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. So again, Dad, happy to hear you're putting money away for future, but it's wild to see younger people that don't really, I didn't. I was in the same boat, man. It was kind of like, okay, hey, I'm living for the weekend, and I've got forever until I retire and things like that. But now you've got a situation where it's looking at the rule of 72, right? And compound interest. I know, your moniker is, let me show you how to turn $100 into $1 million. I love that. I think that's pretty awesome, but it's, again, when you're somebody that's in your 30s, 40s, and even 50s, putting money away, you're not going to be able to turn $100 into $1 million. But at your age, in Gen Z, in your 20s, you can do that through the power of compounding, right? Just adding a little bit of money, and you've got something more valuable than money, which is time. You retire at 65, 67, or 70 or whatever. You're looking at 40 plus years of being able to have compound growth. And I know that's probably more powerful than anything out there, obviously paying attention to the taxes. So I'd love to hear your perspective on that piece.
Yeah. So, having a lot more time starting younger, you're able to put less away and still have the same result as if you would be starting later in life. So I contribute to my own account, and I'm very excited to get the age 65, hopefully retire a little bit early.
There you go. No, I love that. And that's one of the things for the listeners out there, really looking at, you're going to spend money. Everybody knows that you want to retire someday. And I know you feel like you've got forever, whatever the case may be, but it's going to get here, believe it or not. And the nice thing is being able to have a nice nest egg set away. And if you start earlier, like Gen Z, and I'm speaking specifically to Gen Z right now, if you start earlier, you just need a little bit of money. Like Max said, $100, right? A little bit of money starting out, putting that away, and it's going to compound, and you're literally going to have multitudes of tens of thousands, if not millions, seven figures by the time you get your retirement age. And then look at a tax strategy too. And I know Max does this, and he can help you with this as well, because I taught him. But that's one of the things that's really kind of impactful. And so that makes your later in life even easier, because now you don't have to put away the big money every month like people starting late in their 40s and 50s do. So you get to go out and you still save some, don't get me wrong, but you get to have a little more fun, a lot less pressure financially later in life. So that's a key component to put you ahead of Generation Y, the millennials, and Gen X. So good stuff. So Max, anything else we should, the Gen Z should be kind of keeping an eye on out there?
I mean, just finding ways to cut down your spending a little bit, whether it's, giving up a coffee a week, that's $10 a week you can have, or even just a day. Each day, small adds up.
No, it does. It does. And, small adds up, especially over time, just with the compounding of things. One thing I do want to add before we jump and close out is, and Gen Z is amazing at this, is the side hustle. They've grown up in the gig economy and looking at multiple streams of income. And that's a lesson I think that the millennials and definitely Gen X could look at to our younger peers and our kids and things like that. And looking at, there's so much money to be made out there. And I know some people are listening to this saying, hell no, you're so wrong, John. And I'm telling you, there is, if you're just willing to look for it and adapt to the new economy, right? It is the gig economy, getting plugged into, affiliate programs that are out there for companies, getting plugged into, freelancing through, things like Fiverr. And there's a couple of others out there. If you've got something you love doing, figure out a way, A, who wants that? And B, how do I get paid for it? And that's a great way to add income. I know we've got an affiliate program at our business as well. So, all good stuff, all good stuff. So Max, I want to say thanks again for coming out. Do us a favor. If you love this, give us a click, give us a love, give us a subscribe. You can catch all of our past videos on the Money podcast, the moneymovespodcast.com. We've got a new URL. That's the moneymovespodcast.com. That'll take you to our YouTube channel. And always, we're on your favorite podcast platform, whether it's Spotify, Apple, or Google, or whatever the case may be. You can catch some of our past episodes there as well. And to connect with Max, you're on Instagram. I know this, so we can go to maxcleaver.com and catch all your links. Is that where everything's at? Or
yep, all my socials, websites, links.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you coming in today, Max. Proud of you. As a dad, and then also as just as an individual who's taking charge of their life and not being a victim. I wish you well. And again, thanks for coming onto the show and giving us that perspective on Gen Z. Thanks everybody. We'll see you next Tuesday for another Money Moves. Bye, everybody.